Hello guys, my name is Diego Pacheco and this is a Java video. So today we will be talking about GraalVM and Spring Boot. So there is this new Spring Boot project which is capable of turning a Spring Boot application into a GraalVM native image application, right? And also run it with Docker. So this is pretty exciting because being a native image, it speeds up a lot the compiling time. The biggest issue are basically two things. One thing is like handling reflection and some dynamic programming. Like in C++, there's type erasure that you have to deal with it. In Java, you have reflection to deal with it. So there's these classes that give hints, right, to help the native process. So this is an ongoing initiative. I don't think it's near close to be done, but actually we already can sort of play with it, right? And the second thing is the build time, right? So build time actually gets a bit bigger, right? So you can kind of minimize that with different pipelines and multi-staging, but it still gets bigger because the compiling tasks are doing much more, right? But this is a very cool step forward towards unikernels where you can have an OS with just your app there, and native image in GraalVM is a way to do that in Java, right? And this project is cool because it binds this GraalVM native image and Spring Boot together, right? That's particularly exciting because I personally big fan of a language like Go and Rust, where you create a sort of a single binary self-packed containing everything you need to run the app, right? And with native image in GraalVM, we can do the same with Java, and it's cool that Spring Boot is working towards that direction. Not only Spring Boot, but all major stacks in Java like Quarkus, Micronaut, they're all going that direction as well, which is pretty exciting and cool. But anyway, so let's take a look on the code I have here on the POC, right? So let me open the project on IDEA. I'm gonna explain the code, some scripts I wrote, and we're gonna run it. It will take some time. There's some caching because it was running before, but still gonna take some time, right? Cool. Okay, so let's take a look on the app first, right? So the app is a very simple service, right? There's a greeting, which is a Pojo that has ID and content, has a full constructor, getters, no setters. It's immutable. Then we have a greeting controller where we have a template, which is hello something, and we have an atomic integ, which is a incrementing counter, right? And then what we have here is an endpoint called /greeting, all right? It's gonna work with get HTTP method, and then it's gonna receive request param called name, and the default is world if you don't pass anything. And what we're gonna do is like we're gonna increment and get the counter, right? And we're gonna format our template here, and we're gonna return a greeting with that, and that will be returned for the user. And finally, we have our application, which is our Spring Boot application. As you can see here, there's no special GraalVM classes or imports. It's all transparent. It's all like a compilation thing. Now let's look on the Maven where the magic happens, right? So I hope my idea do not crash. Okay. Idea's crashing some time to me. Okay, so here we have the parent, all right? So we're using the starter parent from Spring Boot, version 243. Nothing special here. Here we have some repositories, right, from Spring. Regular Spring dependencies as a starter web, and which is just gonna pull out Tomcat, and also starter test, right? And here we start to see the interesting things. It's this dependency here for a Spring native, right? And it's experimental, as you can see. Then we have our Maven plugin for Spring Boot, where we're gonna use Paketo build packs, right? And we're gonna use this particular builder, and we want to have a native image. So we have this parameter here, and we have this ahead of time compilation plugin in Maven, which we need to hook here. And that's it. We are capable now for generating native images and wrap them with Docker. So I would say Docker is not really needed, but I get it why they did it this way, because then it's more transparent for the user, right? So I basically have a bunch of scripts I create. So I have this build image script, which is just called Spring Boot build image. I have run native app. As you can see here, we're gonna build a Docker image, and then we're just gonna run that. And finally, I have a test one that's just gonna do a URL for or endpoint, right? So let's do that. So first of all, let's do build, all right? So let's build our native image here. This will take a while, all right? And you're gonna see several warnings here because, like I said, it's experimental. Not everything is ready to work this way, all right? So we're gonna use Paketo here, then gonna create a native image, and there we go. So you might realize that was a bit fast, like 20 seconds, because I just run it before. So it's getting from my Docker cache, and but we have the native image being built here, all right? And now let's run the app. So if I just do run native app, you're gonna see it start very, very fast, right? In 0.046 milliseconds is really fast startup time. And then we can actually call my test script, and we can see here, right, that we're gonna hit the greeting endpoint, right? And if we run it, we can see it works. We can even change this, right? Like for instance, let's play with it a bit, all right? Oops, here. And I can change slightly and say like Diego. And then here we get an error, right? Because that's not what's going on. Because this is a path parameter, if I remember, like it needs to be something like this, right? And then it works. Then you see Diego, I can even add Pacheco here as well, and it works, right? So that's it. That's definitely a project to be watching. It's very promising. I hope you guys like it. See you next time. Take care. Cheers.